Welcome back. We are on lesson number 151 in A Course in Miracles, titled, All Things Are Echoes of the Voice for God. All things are echoes of the voice for God. No one can judge on partial evidence. That is not judgment. It is merely an opinion based on ignorance and doubt. Its seeming certainty is but a cloak for the uncertainty it would conceal. It needs irrational defense because it is irrational, and its defense seems strong, convincing, and without a doubt because of all the doubting underneath. You do not seem to doubt the world you see. You do not really question what is shown you through the body's eyes. Nor do you ask why you believe it, even though you learned a long while since your senses do deceive. That you believe them to the last detail which they report is even stranger. When you pause to recollect how frequently they have been faulty witnesses indeed, why would you trust them so implicitly? Why, but because of underlying doubt, which you would hide with show of certainty. How can you judge? Your judgment rests upon the witness that your senses offer you. Yet witness never falser was than this. But how else do you judge the world you see? You place pathetic faith in what your eyes and ears report. You think your fingers touch reality and close upon the truth. This is awareness that you understand and think more real than what is witnessed to by the eternal voice for God Himself. Can this be judgment? You have often been urged to refrain from judging, not because it is a right to be withheld from you. You cannot judge. You merely can believe the ego's judgments, all of which are false. It guides your senses carefully to prove how weak you are, how helpless and afraid, how apprehensive of just punishment, how black with sin, how wretched in your guilt. This thing it speaks of and would yet defend, it tells you is yourself. And you believe that this is so with stubborn certainty. Yet underneath remains the hidden doubt that what it shows you as reality with such conviction it does not believe. It is itself alone that it condemns. It is within itself it sees the guilt. It is its own despair it sees in you. Hear not its voice. The witnesses it sends to prove to you its evil is your own are false and speak with certainty of what they do not know. Your faith in them is blind because you would not share the doubts their Lord cannot completely vanquish. You believe to doubt His vassals is to doubt yourself. Yet you must learn to doubt their evidence. Their evidence will clear the way to recognize yourself. and let the voice for God alone be judge of what is worthy of your own belief. He will not tell you that your brother should be judged by what your eyes behold in him, nor what his body's mouth says to your ears, nor what your fingers touch reports of him. He passes by such idle witnesses which merely bear false witness to God's Son. He recognizes only what God loves, and in the holy light of what he sees, do all the ego's dreams of what you are vanish before the splendor he beholds. Let him be judge of what you are, for he has certainty in which there is no doubt, because it rests on certainty so great that doubt is meaningless before its face. Christ cannot doubt himself. The voice for God can only honor him, rejoicing in his perfect, everlasting sinlessness. Whom he has judged can only laugh at guilt, unwilling now to play with toys of sin, unheeding of the body's witnesses before the rapture of Christ's holy face. And thus he judges you. Accept his word for what you are, for he bears witness to your beautiful creation and the mind whose thought created your reality. What can the body mean to him who knows the glory of the Father and the Son? What whispers of the ego can he hear? What could convince him that your sins are real? Let him be judge as well of everything that seems to happen to you in this world. His lessons will enable you to bridge the gap between illusions and the truth. He will remove all faith that you have placed in pain, disaster, suffering, and loss. He gives you vision which can look beyond these grim appearances and can behold the gentle face of Christ in all of them. You will no longer doubt that only good can come to who you are, can come to you who are beloved of God. For he will judge all happenings and teach the single lesson that they all contain. He will select the elements in them which represent the truth and disregard those aspects which reflect idle dreams. And he will interpret all you see and all occurrences, each circumstance and every happening that seems to touch on you in any way from his one frame of reference, wholly unified and sure. And you will see the love beyond the hate, the constancy in change, the pure in sin, and only heaven's blessing on the world. Such is your resurrection, for your life is not a part of anything you see. It stands beyond the body and the world, past every witness for unholiness, within the holy, holy as itself. In everyone and everything, his voice will speak to you of nothing but yourself and your Creator, who is one with him. So you will see the holy face of Christ in everything, and hear in everything no sound except the echo of God's voice. We practice wordlessly today, except at the beginning of the time we spend with God. We introduce these times with but a single, slow repeating of the thought which the day begins. And then we watch our thoughts appealing silently to him who sees the elements of truth in them. Let him evaluate each thought that comes to mind, remove the elements of dreams, and give them back again as clear ideas that do not contradict the will of God. Give him your thoughts, and he will give them back as miracles, which joyously proclaim the wholeness and the happiness God wills his Son, as proof of his eternal love. And as each thought is thus transformed, it takes on a healing power from the mind which saw the truth in it and failed to be deceived by what was falsely added. All threads of fantasy are gone, and what remains is unified into a perfect thought that offers its perfection everywhere. Spend 15 minutes thus when you awake, and gladly give 15 more before you go to sleep. Your ministry begins as all your thoughts are purified. So are you taught to teach the Son of God the holy lesson of his sanctity. No one can fail to listen when you hear the voice for God. Give honor to God's Son, and everyone will share the thoughts with you, which has retranslated in your minds. Such is your Easter tide, and so you lay the gift of snow white lilies on the world, replacing witnesses to sin and death. Through your transfiguration is the world redeemed and joyously released from guilt. Now do we lift our resurrected minds in gladness and in gratitude to him who has restored our sanity, who has restored our sanity to us. And we will hourly remember him who is salvation and deliverance. As we give thanks, the world unites with us and happily accepts our holy thoughts, which heaven has corrected and made pure. Now has our ministry begun at last to carry round the world the joyous news that truth has no illusions, and the peace of God through us belongs to everyone. Lesson number 151. All things are echoes of the voice for God. All things are echoes of the voice for God. Okay, lesson number 151, commentary. I'm trying something different today, you guys. This one was so long and so many things came to my mind as I was reading it, that this is the first time I am doing a video by rereading it and highlighting the points of things where I thought something. So let's see how this goes. Hopefully it works for me and it works for you, because we all gotta win. No one can lose, only gain. So the first line of this lesson, not the title, but the first line says, no one can judge on partial evidence. First of all, why is evidence partial? I'll tell you right now, because you have a perception. What you see is a perception of only your experiences from your past, from the way you interpreted your past, with the limited information that you have. Okay, therefore, there's only partial evidence. And your evidence is through your lens and your perception. For example, have you ever found out some information that you didn't know? Have you become an adult and then reinterpret things and find out things about, like, things that happen in your family that you didn't even know what was going on? And you interpreted all these things one way just because somebody maybe left a fact away from you because they were trying to protect you. So you came up with your own interpretation. And then later on you find out, oh my God, I came up with this whole story about my uncle and it wasn't even true. They never even told me. How many people out there have been told that your parent went away, but they were really in jail? I don't know why that came up because none of my parents went away, but that's what came up. How many people were told, just didn't tell you things because they wanted to protect you, right? And you wondered why somebody was acting crazy, and you didn't realize, nobody told you that that person was on drugs, and you didn't know that that behavior wasn't a rational behavior. Like, how many times have you perceived things differently than they really were? Now, what's good about this is that God's perception of who you are and who everybody else is holy, is perfect, it's limitless, it's joyous, it's loving, it's kind, it's forgiveness, it's abundance, it's all encompassing of all that is love and beauty. That's who God keeps telling you you are, made in His image and His likeness. It says it in the Bible, it says it in the Course in Miracles, and I'm telling it to you right now. So every time you judge a situation, just know it's based on partial evidence and it's based on your perception. And your perception is usually wrong. And how do you know if it's wrong? If it's not loving, then it's not real. If your thoughts are not loving, if your thoughts are not kind, then they're all illusions. And all you have to do is stop and say, hey, I'm feeling this right now, God. What do I do about it? You close your eyes and you ask for God to reinterpret your thoughts so that He can change it to the miracle. Okay, so that's point number 1. Point number 2. Your senses do deceive. How frequently have they been faulty witnesses indeed? How many times have you heard something and then other people in the room and they say that's not what it said because it was something that you were exposed to recently and you just heard it wrong? I've done it many times. I've read texts in a certain rage or in a certain mindset and then went back and read the text and I was like, they didn't even say that. It was my own interpretation of it because I was on a little rampage in my head. So your senses do deceive you. How many times have you saw something and from far away and gotten closer and been like, oh my God, like sometimes I go running and I might see something out in the distance and I think it's like an animal and I get up close and it's a log. So with all these times in your life that your senses have deceived you, why do we rely on them like they're facts and that they have to be right? Why do we keep doing that? So this is the point that God is making. You don't necessarily take all your perceptions of what you see. We rely on them like they are 100% true. And many times in our life, we've seen that they're not. So don't think that all your senses are 100% true. Okay. Now, next, you cannot judge. And this is how the ego judges, which ego judges only false things. And basically, how do you know? It will tell you that you're weak. It will tell you that you're helpless, that you're afraid, that you should be punished, and that you're black with sin and that you're wretched with guilt. And God tells you that you're free, that you're sinless, that he would not create a situation where his perfect child, his perfect son, his perfect creation from him could ever be separated from him, can ever be apart from him, can ever feel pain, can ever feel hurt. Like, that's not from God. That's from your ego. God made it so that you are sinless, eternal, beautiful, in light, holy, beauty, today, now, and forever. So whenever you're not in your right mind, you just need to stop and go back and ask God to correct it. Ask God to clear those illusions of the ego and bring back his lovingness of who you truly are. Boom. Next. Okay, now let's talk about your brother and your sister. So, you're not to judge by what your eyes see, by what their mouth says, and what your fingers touch as far as reports of them, of who they are. This is a tough one, right? I mean, I think we've all had times where somebody has said something to you that hurt you, truly, right? Or because for some reason you owned whatever it is they said about you. And it hurt. And you really couldn't believe that. You wonder, you're like, is what they said true? Am I that? Am I this? Am I bad? Am I bad? Am I sinful? Am I selfish? Am I greedy? Am I ugly? Am I old? Am I mean? Am I evil? Am I dumb? All these things you might have heard somebody say towards you and who you are. It says, do not judge whatever comes out of their mouth, whatever it is they see, whatever his mouth says to you, or what their fingers reports, what you end up touching about them. That's not how you are to judge them. You are to ask God to come in, to erase all your illusions you have of this person, and to replace it with his eyes, his vision, and his love. All of those things are not meant for you. You always have to come back to who you truly are. One of love, one of perfection, one of glory, one of holiness, one of hope, one of abundance, one of limitlessness. All the characteristics that your Father has, he gives to you, and don't you forget it. Don't own nothing that somebody else says about you. And you know what? Don't judge them based on what they said about you either. Many times people say these things because it's coming from their ego. It's not coming from love. It's not coming from God's eyes of what they should be seeing. We've all been there, and we can't judge it. We don't know what happened to them in the past. We don't know where that comes from. We don't know. But we do know it doesn't come from a place of love. And if it ain't from love, we don't want nothing to do with it. But don't hold it against your brother and sister. I need to work on that too. When I'm really hurt, sometimes I get stuck in that. So I'm working on that. It's a forever practice. But continue to know that there's a bigger picture, there's a bigger story that you have not seen. And no matter what, you can ask God to clear your eyes and your heart, and to refocus on only the loving things about them. That always helps me refocus on the loving things about them. Okay, next. while we're doing this, it promises that God is going to evaluate each thought that you have during this exercise, remove all the elements of dreams, all the illusions, and then he's going to give them back to you as clean ideas that do not contradict the will of God. So when you're in your little meditative space, and when you're quiet, and when you ask God come in and to clear those thoughts, God will. And the first thing that pops in your mind that brings you peace, that's loving or brings you joy, that's the thought that God is giving you, that he's placing in your head. The one that makes you feel better, the one that makes you smile, the one that frees you up just a little bit, the one that tells you you're safe, the one that tells you you're loved, the one that tells you you're free. Hold on to that. Anytime that little thought pops up after you ask God to enter, it's a gift. He's giving you the miracle, the holy instant, the change of your mind. That's where it all starts. Okay, so next, this is one of my favorite parts. It says, as your thoughts are purified, everyone else will share the thoughts with you, which he has translated in your mind. That's something that I love about the Course in Miracles. You don't have to do the work. God does the work, and he does the work in you. And whatever work he does in you changes everybody outside of you. Because God only has one son. One son. Our body's making it like we're different, but he only has one son. And he loves his one son. And we are all part of that sonship. In our little bodies, but union with one spirit. So, right? Father, Son, Holy Spirit, all as one. We're part of that son, right? So I love that part. Once it gets retranslated in your minds, it's like magic. It flows through the world to all the other minds. Whether you see it or not, your healing is healing everyone else. And lastly, this is one of my favorites because I love the imagery that the Course in Miracles has many times. And it says, so you lay the gift of snow white lilies on the world. I could just see us dropping those lilies all over the world. That's how beautiful it is when we realize who we really are, that we're made from love, that we're made from God's light, and that we could never be sinful because God set it up that way. So this is all for you. This is all out of love for you. God established his relationship with you to make you happy. Isn't that beautiful? So drop those white lilies. That's what you're doing. And through your transfiguration is the world redeemed. Everything gets better through you and from you. So you don't have to work and control anybody else. All you have to do is work on your own union, your own mind connection with your Father. And how do you know you're connected? Because you'll have loving thoughts. Thanks for sticking with me. I hope this helps. Bye.